All right. Thank you for joining us for our third series, Practical AI for IT, AI powered reporting. So, like I said, this is the third one of our series. We are super excited to have you guys here. Hopefully, you've made it through the entire series and you're pumped up for our finale as we wrap it up. And bringing on stage with me, I have two of our best speakers, Chris Savio and Ashley Ellington. How are you guys? I'll let y'all introduce yourselves. So happy to have you here.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Danny. Appreciate it. Yes, welcome everyone. Excited to be here. So as Danny said, my name is Chris Savio. I'm Senior Director of Product Marketing for our IT solutions here. So our LogMeIn portfolio, so our Resolve product, which we're talking about today, our rescue solution as well. Had the pleasure of joining you all on our last webinar. And we have our a new SC with us today, Ashley. Quick intro for yourself. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks so much, Chris. Happy to be here. Hi, everyone. My name is Ashley Ellington. I'm new to the series. I'm not new to GoTo. I have been with GoTo for about 5 years now as a senior solutions consultant, and I've worked with over 7,000 customers, helping them streamline IT support and reporting. So super excited to be part of the conversation today about AI-driven insights.
Awesome. And on that note, I will let you guys take it over. Super excited for today's session and you guys enjoy.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Dan.
you. Well, great. So, yeah, excited to have everyone here today. As Danny said, third in our three-part series around AI, and we'll quickly recap what those were in a second. But we got our agenda here today. Again, gonna do how we've done in the previous two, spotlight some stats and some insights that we think can help get you all excited for AI, maybe build your own business case or understand the importance of it. So went out, found some additional insights, was digging through some different research that got released earlier this year from some different organizations. And then we'll dive into reporting, right? Specifically, why it's important, what are the problems that are out there with reporting today, and getting kind of insights, actionable reports, so not just data for data's sake, and how Resolve is looking at it differently, right? Both with some out-of-the-box reports, but more importantly, our AI-powered reporting, what we think can actually deliver a lot of value for you, your organizations, customers, and so forth. And then, of course, as Danny said, we'll have our demo that's going to take up a lion's share of it. We'll walk through. Please chime in with questions as you're going through. Don't hold them until the end. If you've been on any of the other ones you've seen, like to jump in, pepper those as they come through if they're relevant to the topic at hand. And we had definitely a lot of a chatty group the last few sessions. So I'm going to assume, don't let me down. We're going to get the same in this one with a lot of questions and engagement, whether it's specific to this, other AI you've used, or frankly, any functionality in Resolve. Ashley is an expert at the product. She'll do her best to answer. I can make some stuff up, maybe. I don't know. But on that note, Resolve, for those that aren't familiar with Resolve, I'll put on my marketing hat for a quick second and give kind of the quick intro for those that might not be familiar. So, LogMeIn Resolve is a unified endpoint management platform. And I say that almost lightly because it really extends past key UEM capabilities. So, for those that are familiar, UEM really is the coverage of your desktop. So, traditional RMM capabilities, remote monitoring management. So, your patching, your device monitoring, AV management, task automation, also covering mobile device management as well in there. But Resolve goes kind of really far beyond that, both in its kind of ad hoc support, remote access, so the remote control capabilities, so getting in there, getting hands-on with your device, as well as really on the record keeping side. So we have a built-in service management platform that covers incident and problem management, as well as a knowledge management based IT asset management. I don't know how much more management I can say in just a few words, but we kind of cover that full gamut. So I would probably be close to say, 85, 90% of what you need to get through your day-to-day Resolve does covered. We also introduced 2 months ago at this time a partnership with Acronis, where we've actually introduced BCDR, so a backup disaster recovery capabilities that integrate natively into Resolve. We work with some partners as well for endpoint protection software, so XDR and EDR capabilities. So really to round out your full needs in a one-stop shop, single kind of pane of glass capabilities. Ashley, did I hit on everything with the product? You talk to customers more. Is there anything else you would say if you're putting on your marketing hat?
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of practical AI, I know that the virtual technician is another component that the customers that I'm speaking with are really excited about. Getting the ability to customize their plans that they want to execute from while they're in support sessions just helps to really streamline that process. So it's leaning into more of not just what do we think we need, but looking to the future, what can we accomplish in these support sessions?
Awesome. Yeah. And great transition for me. Speaking about the virtual technician, so as I mentioned, we've done two of these sessions already. This is our third in the series. So our first one was on virtual technician. Then we covered knowledge base last week, and now we're kind of going into data insights reporting. I think Danny is gonna drop into the chats here and notes links to those. So if you weren't able to attend those recordings, those webinars live, we do have recordings available. If you just want to see them again because we did such a great job, you can watch them as well. But other things that we cover also in Resolve from AI that we're not having specific sessions on. But if you have questions, we can answer them now. We can follow up. In our remote support sessions, we have capabilities with kind of an assistant to both pull from knowledge bases we mentioned, session notes and wrap ups, which we showed a little bit in some of the other sessions, as well as kind of a screen kind of translator where you kind of capture a screen and kind of analyze some screenshots for that. Our help desk functionality, which I mentioned, is integrated also as AI kind of throughout it, from everything from helping you summarize kind of a conversation, comments on there, suggest potential resolution, connecting into our knowledge base as well. And then the last thing is kind of this AI assistant, our Go Pilot, that's persistent across the Resolve console that you can ask anything from how to use Resolve. So if you have questions, it kind of queries into our support base. Pull things from your knowledge base, ask questions more importantly about your fleet of devices, like, hey, which devices need patching? Are there any that are high priority for me to look at, right? Critical views, things like that. Any of those questions you can pepper to that kind of always on AI assistant, which is right in that top nav bar that you can get to in the products. Okay, take a breath a second. And now let's actually jump into, the data, the trends, and why it's important again. So I said I kind of went out looking for some new stats that were interesting, and what I found was this interesting report from called like the State of AI and IT. It was a 2025 report, so it was collected much earlier this year from organization ITSM.com. Good site, good collection actually. A lot of different sources that they curate. So if you haven't got them, I do encourage you to take a look. There's a lot of good articles and stuff on there. But they had kind of commissioned a study earlier that had some interesting stats in it. The first one was the percent of like businesses that actually are allocating to AI. Now I see 72%. A lot of people are like, wow, that's pretty good. I look at that and say, I'm actually shocked that it's that low. I would think at this point it would be high, even if people are piloting technology. That being said, still a good swath of the space, right? It does go down a little when you go down in market size, but hopefully people are kind of looking at it, and some of the benefits that are being experienced that was pulled out in the survey that I thought were interesting were, these are things that we've heard and seen, right? Optimizing operations and reducing costs, which is great to see because I know a lot of organizations are having trouble figuring out where is the ROI for these investments, right? If you can offset it and show that you're reducing costs or getting more out of your current headcount, there's your one-to-one immediately. Increases in productivity, again, working faster and smarter through things, getting answers more clearly, accessing things much more easily. And just improving user experience, which is good to see with 53%, right? And this is right. I think a lot of this is maybe self-service experiences or getting access to information much more easily when talking about AI. Ashley, do you think there's, first off, you surprised by the 72? Is that kind of what you think, maybe from a lot of the customers you've spoken with, that maybe 3 out of 4 are kind of investing or have invested?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it really depends on organizations and where they're at in their life cycle of adoption, and just kind of what the general culture is of the organization for how ready people are to invest in new technology, and those that are maybe a little bit more traditional or hesitant, and it just takes longer for them to adopt. So it really doesn't surprise me, but I will be curious to see over maybe the next year how we're going to see those trends changing and adapting.
Yeah, definitely. And for those that have invested, right, there was kind of looking at where some of the impact that they've seen, right? So ones that are really putting money in, putting, I guess, the money where their mouth is. And what I found interesting for this, and actually I was really happy to see, is that those that are doing this are seeing some of the biggest impact in data analysis, which is really ties in nicely to what we're going to be talking about today. End user assistance, so these kind of bots, right, for self-service and stuff like that, that probably help reduce maybe kind of lower volume tickets and things like that for your L1 staff. And then knowledge management, which we talked a lot about last week, right? The access to knowledge, both curating it, building it, accessing it. Really, with AI, I think it's this generative AI and knowledge. Really, it's kind of a match made in heaven. Not only for getting access to it, but really kind of helping you build that up. So again, encourage you, if you hadn't had a chance to watch that webinar last week, encourage you to go take a look. But the data analysis is a piece that I find really interesting, actually, because I think a lot of the conversation and what we've seen from deployment isn't necessarily diving into the data or insights, right? It seems like it's a little more hands-on stuff that maybe you've seen or heard.
Yeah, this is exactly in line with what I've seen. Yeah, the data analysis is actually a bit surprising, but in my experience, I see customers adopting AI more in the self-service sphere. So chatbots, knowledge assistants that help end users resolve issues instantly. Like you said, Chris, cutting down on the flood of tier one tickets is really where I've seen a lot of the utilization at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it really comes down to, and thinking about it, we kind of look at it as two sides of a coin here. And on that previous stat, I think it's those that have started using AI in this kind of insights analysis reporting are seeing good returns. From what I've seen, it's that the volume of people doing it that way or using it that way is lower. So people aren't getting to really experience, right? So if you look at kind of AI, and this is one of the ways that we look at it here for Resolve, for Rescue, whatever, from our IT products, it's kind of two sides, right? One is really on these insights. It's, the brains of the operation. This is where you're going to be able to use AI to dig into this huge universe of data and information that you have coming off of all different sources of your IT ecosystem, devices themselves, questions coming in, knowledge you have, whatever it might be, right? And really to ask it important questions or to pull out trends and get the insights, right? And really, this is what's going to lead you, this left side is going to lead you to that ability to be much more proactive in what you're doing for support, right? And how you're managing it. You're really seeing a reduction potentially in cost by getting out ahead and knowing when problems are going to come up sooner or understanding your ecosystem. The other side, the bronze of the operation really are those a lot of hands-on things, right? So Ashley mentioned our virtual technician, right? The ability to kind of build and publish scripts easier, right? More analogous to when people kind of, I think, confound the difference between AI and automation, kind of lives closer to that side. For those, I'll get on my soapbox a second. AI and automation are not the same thing. One is an if-then type statements that's rigid. One is much more, fluid, and both have a place. So I think there's a purpose for both, but they shouldn't be necessarily interchangeable. So that being said, bronze side, I think more of that kind of reactive side where it gets in and solves it. You can be a little more proactive with it. But these are kind of the two sides, of the coin that I see and why it's really important to invest in both, because one kind of feeds into the other and learns from the other, right? You can't get in there and resolve things if you don't know what you need to resolve. And then once you do resolve things, you take those insights and you push it into, right, your kind of larger knowledge. Ashley, does this jive with you, or am I kind of talking the crazy talk here?
No, I think this is a really accurate perspective on what we're seeing in the utilization and just the landscape for AI at this point, that oftentimes I'm seeing organizations that maybe are considering over indexing to offload jobs, when we also need to be keeping the why in the frame. We're eager to solve the problem, but without this guiding North Star to orient ourselves towards the actions that we're taking might not always lead us to where we want to go. I was thinking about kind of this perspective of keeping both in the balance. And there's this quote from John F. Kennedy, efforts and courage are not enough without purpose and direction. And I think that's why we need to make sure that we're prioritizing and also utilizing the brains portion as well to make sure that we are orienting our efforts in the direction that we do want to go.
Yeah, 100%. Love that quote. That's good. Look at you pulling out nice quotes. Chad didn't do that on our last ones.
Philosopher and me, always looking for historical notes to anchor us to the present.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. All right. So now that we know how these should work with each other, what are some of the problems? Why should you care about improving your reporting or improving your insights, improving kind of the data analysis, right? Well, first off, right, is just currently the current state is that reporting needs, and we've heard this time and again, not just in our own solution, but with all the solutions out there, right? If you go into different communities or forums, you're constantly hearing that just the reports that are available, they're just insufficient. They just don't meet the needs of what different IT leaders have, right? Whether it's a MSP that's trying to build customer reports to present to a QBR for a customer, or director of IT that's trying to build out something to position to senior leaders at their companies for additional investment or to help bring on new technology or resources, right? What's there and what's available really sometimes is lacking, right? In the flexibility, right? get kind of the basics of it. But again, it's rigid, right? And so when it is that rigid, then you have to go out and do a lot of your own work on your own, which is time consuming and difficult to do. Pull all your information, get in there and use SQLs or, different pivot tables, whatever you're trying to do to pull from different sources, right? And that's the other piece of it, is that it is fragmented visibility, right? That usually your tools are siloed, and as such, the reporting is siloed, right? So one of the benefits of Resolve having that huge coverage that I showed, of 360 from proactive to reactive to support to your record keeping capabilities and your automation capabilities and everything in between, allows you to not have a fragmented IT ecosystem, and then at the same time not have potentially fragmented data analysis or insights, right? So if you're having these tools are fragmented, or a tool, which there's a lot of solutions out there that you'll see that are a single tool by claim, but things are connected through different APIs, right? And so the data and stuff doesn't necessarily speak to each other, right? And it's hard, again, to pull these things together and then pull out. And sometimes you have blind spots, right? And so that's where a lot of the problem is, I think, with reporting today. It is those blind spots that usually creep up. And I know IT leaders barely have enough time in their day just to get through normal backlogs, let alone starting to dive into their data and analyze it, right? So really trying to make that easier, right? And some of the impact of better reporting, better insights, right? A lot of times it's scalable and automated insights, right? So you're kind of doing it once, you can continue to then see it and do it again, right? Simplified process for audits, right? With compliance being much more important these days for whether it's for certain specific industries that maybe you're working in, or working through different needs, for example, for cybersecurity insurance, right? These audits and information, you got to have data ready and at your fingertips, right? So improving your reporting posture can really help with that. And then, of course, it helps with smarter strategic, decision makings, right? If you can actually pull out these insights, you can understand, when are things going to fail more quickly? What are my teams that are overstaffed? What are my devices that are end of lifing and just sucking productivity from my organization, right? Pull in all these things and make decisions a lot faster. You think I missed anything, Ashley, with kind of the current state and where there's positive impacts?
No, I think you really did a great job covering that. Again, it's really just trying to drive those more strategic decisions, is what we're really seeing is the purpose and intent and impact of the dynamic reporting.
Awesome. So with that, I'd like to know, again, from people here, we got our first poll. So as Danny mentioned, we're going to have a couple polls throughout this to understand what are the problems you're having with reporting. If you don't, please put it in the chat. I'd love to know what your secret is. We can bring you on. You can tell everyone. But so we have a few answers here, and maybe if there's something else, again, also put that in kind of the question area, and I can read it back. But take a second and go through with your biggest pain points here, right? Too much manual data entry or consolidation of data, difficulty accessing data, lack of real-time visibility, which I think is a real thing. Customizable, flexible, which I kind of just mentioned is an area, or just inaccurate or inconsistent data, right? So there's nothing worse, I know, for me, when it comes to marketing side. You get one data source and you're spitting out an answer, and then you get another one and you're spitting out another, and you're like, well, okay, one of these is maybe right. So that's a huge headache as well. So we'll give a couple more seconds here. Looks like got a good percentage of people going in. Have any horse in the race? Actually, do you think there's one that might pop up over the other?
Man, I was thinking difficulty accessing data across multiple tools. Oh, yeah, okay. It did just actually jump a little bit. So
all right.
In wavelengths.
All right, let's push these back. There we go. Let's push these back, Danny, and share it to the audience. All right. So what do we got here? So yeah, exactly. The top two, difficulty accessing across tools. Again, not surprising. And too much manual data entry and consolidation. I think these go kind of hand in hand, right? Where you're trying to put things in, build out these kind of reports and things. So great to see. Again, as you see these results, you're not alone if you're frustrated with your reporting. Everyone's in the same boat. All right. So close that up and let's kind of keep moving ahead, and then we're a second away from jumping into the demo. So before we do, I want to give you the 20-second intro into what we're going to go through, little show, tell, or tell, show, tell. Yeah, there we go. Of what we have going on here today. So really with Resolve, we kind of take more of this holistic approach to reporting, right? And so what we're trying to do is both give you those general insights that you're going to need, right, for your IT environment. So the core out of the box things that you're going to want to know, right? Your comprehensive session information, some ticket information, alertings and things like that you can pull in kind of core that are out there. And also activity logs, right? So anything that's gone on, settings were changed, users were added, or so forth, right? Those more audit trail pieces, right? So you kind of tick both of those boxes with our core out of the box things that are always there, that we've worked with customers to make sure, hey, these are the needs they have. This is what you're going to need. But then what we've recently rolled out and is currently in open beta, so hopefully everyone's kind of kicked the tires on it. If you haven't, I encourage you, hopefully after this, that you will. We've taken to the next step, knowing that for us to try and build all the reports needed to meet all the demands would be a Herculean effort and just kind of chasing our tail, right? So our team built out these kind of on-demand insights, this AI-powered reporting, customized reporting, dynamic insights, which really allow you to go in and ask anything of your fleet, of your knowledge, of your assets, of your tickets, of your sessions. I can keep going, right? Anything that exists in Resolve where we're kind of collecting this information, ask what you need, and you can spit out this very tailored report and kind of continue to tweak and adjust it, right? So now no longer do you have to pull data from different sources because everything's living within Resolve. No longer do you have to go out and kind of piece together different stories and then figure out how do I do this in Power BI or some other tool. Available for you here. And this isn't magic. This is something actually working. So I think with that, Ashley, I will turn it over to you to take over and run through what we're doing.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Chris. And man, I had to point out, I sure love to see that floppy disk. Feeling very nostalgic right now.
You know what?
All
I was
right.
trying to go, I was going to do like an 8-bit type thing, but floppy disk is fun. Let's go.
Love it. Tactile, something that yeah, brings up a lot of memories. That's great. Well, yeah, let's go ahead and jump into the demo and we'll get started here. So before we jump into our dynamic insights portion, I did want to start our reporting demo here by actually just highlighting some of our out-of-the-box reports that we do have here. So you will find dynamic insights under reporting, but before we jump in there, just wanted to give a quick little cameo to the out-of-the-box reporting that you already have available to you. That's already built out, and just wanted to show briefly our session reports. And this is still giving really wonderful information here, you know, on the status of your sessions and giving you some historical data here, and just jumping into a day that had a lot of sessions here. But I just wanted to show just something that gives us a little bit more insight here. And this is going to be, you know, essentially one-off reports that you're needing to do one-off audits for, but it is through AI, also a relevant portion. Through the power of AI, we're able to get detailed notes as well as session summaries for your previous support sessions. You know, it looks more like a transcript of the entire session. So just really wanted to call that out really quickly, as well as that virtual technician log. I would be remiss to talk about reporting in AI without giving a quick call out to that, but we'll go ahead and jump back into our reporting section. So as you're navigating away from your out-of-the-box reports, you're going to now come over to the custom report section, and this is where the dynamic insights is going to lead us. So we're really considering how do we return reporting on its head so that you can transform the data that you're gathering and help answer the top questions that are unique to your organization that they're asking you to solve for. So these are a couple of different reports that I have built out. So you get to build out the tiles yourself by creating a new report. But I just highlighted these top 3 use cases that I see organizations being, you know, primarily emphasizing whenever they're looking at those core reporting needs. So first, I'll talk about the impact of each of these custom reports, and then we're going to actually walk through step by step how we're going to customize and build out the reports. So starting with the help desk report, why do we care about reporting for the help desk? So, and this might seem really obvious, but it always helps, and I always love to drill back into the why. So for IT managers, the help desk is really going to be the pulse of the organization's support needs. AI generated help desk reports are going to let you instantly uncover trends, identify recurring issues, and measure your team's performance without needing to wait for, you know, something like a data analyst. You can proactively reduce your ticket volume, allocate resources more effectively, demonstrate the impact of IT on business productivity. So clearly can't overstate the importance here for the help desk reporting. We'll talk through some of the widgets that I've already built out with the widget builder. But first, let's go ahead and actually create one in real time here together. And I really love the widget editor. Engineers did a really great job with this. They can give you, if you already have your own ideas of the different areas of the product that you want to access, that's great. But if you need ideas, then you can actually generate some ideas here as well. But really, the AI can generate reports across all of the different areas of the Resolve platform. So you're really not siloing your data to just one particular module. So whether it's alerts, devices, help desk, inventory, remote execution, remote support sessions, updates, AV, tenant data, there's so much that you can collate the data across. But let's go ahead and come up with one example here for the help desk. Maybe show me the number of tickets. Let's see, over the past month. And let's say maybe sort based on priority level, something like that. And then it's going to, just like you can see with other GPT models, you have like a little chat window here, and you have the ability to actually iterate over the data. So you can massage it back and forth based on the results that you're getting. So you really get to have as much flexibility as possible in that natural language to tailor the data and how you want to customize your reports. So this is obviously going to give us a visibility into whether critical issues are being addressed quickly compared to more lower priority work. And you can also change the date range there. I asked for it over the past month in my chat window, but you can always come in and change that as well based on what your different needs are. And that's the great thing about the widget editor is that once it's built out once, you're not dead in the water stuck with it. You do have the ability to fine tune that over time as you go. So we can clearly see there is the greatest volume of tickets that we're getting over the past month are medium tickets. So we can maybe change priorities for who we're hiring on for the team for that week or that month and go from there. So we'll go ahead and just add that to the report now that we've got the data looking the way that we want it to. And then it will just automatically update into that help desk reporting. So looking at the different dashboards that we've built out from this point, talking about the number of tickets by category over the past 90 days, this is going to give you a quick at a glance view of your most common ticket drivers, seeing where the bulk of the issues fall, identify those trends, prioritize those high impact fixes, allocate resources more effectively. So we can clearly see, okay, software is going to be with a close second to email issues, top priorities that we have for the tickets that we're seeing in the trends over the past 3 months here. Top tickets, devices with the most tickets this quarter. This is going to pinpoint those problem child devices, letting IT teams take proactive measures, upgrading hardware, pushing updates, or maybe even retraining users if needed. Just moving along here in the report, our daily ticket count over the past 90 days. These daily trends are going to help you spot unusual spikes or seasonal patterns, or even the impact of recent changes across the organization. This is also going to support better workload planning and capacity forecasting for your team. And then finally, just wanted to talk through the ticket breakdown by category and requester over the past year. This will show you which issues drive the most tickets, who's submitting them, again, those repeat problems, potential training opportunities. And with the widget, really being able to fully customize and query the data over these longer date ranges, these patterns are going to help reveal systemic issues that once addressed will significantly reduce your workload and produce better service delivery. So those are some of the goals that we can really accomplish through the data insights and help desk reporting. And with that, we'll go ahead and move on to our next use case here, which is the device reporting. And I built out this report, and the impact for device reporting this can't be overstated. Devices are the backbone of your IT environment. But keeping this secure, up to date, and performing well is going to be a constant challenge. And with the AI-powered device reporting, IT managers are going to get that live view of their device landscape from security posture, operating system versions, enabling faster decision-making, tighter compliance, and fewer surprises, which is the goal here. Again, I'm going to go through and create a new widget for us live just to give you a couple of ideas of what we can pull from these types of reports. So we'll go ahead and jump in, and I'll say something like, show me devices. Let's say, well, this is a common issue, not rebooted in the past 30 days. And let's see what we get here. And again, you can customize those date ranges. Gosh, there are a number of things that we can pull from the device widgets for these reports. But I'm excited to show kind of how you're able to update the data based on what it's pulling for us here. So here's my table. all the devices over the past 30 days. That's great, but maybe I want the information displayed in a different format. Now I can say no, sort based on device group. Because if I'm going to go through and reboot these devices, maybe there's a more efficient way that I can scale this to make sure that these are getting updated properly or modifying policies. And this will just make that data a little bit easier for me to digest. So clearly you can see it's going to update my data for me here. And now I get to see those device groups for all of these devices. And I can change how many devices it's showing to me one at a time. So we can go ahead and add that to the report. All right, and jumping back into all those other dashboards that I built out for us beforehand, starting with devices with firewall enabled, clearly this is going to give us a quick security posture check. It's going to show us which groups are fully protected or where there might be firewall gaps, potential vulnerabilities. Scrolling down here, and yeah, we can pull those pie charts, breakdown of available Windows updates across devices, making sure we're staying current on the patches is critical. The widget's going to surface those pending updates, prioritizing those critical security patches while balancing business impact. So we can see kind of what the breakdown is here across the entire fleet of machines. You can see the last logged in user and device group. This is going to let you know essentially usage and tying that to ownership. So you know who's using what device, making audits, incidents investigations, asset reclamation that much easier. And then we're also going to look at the distribution of operating systems across your devices. So this is going to let you see your IT operating system landscape at a glance, helps with lifecycle planning, identifying unsupported versions, and helping potentially prepare for those migrations that are just inevitable really in the IT space. And then Windows updates by severity. This is going to separate your routine updates from your more high priority security fixes to make sure that updates that matter most are being prioritized. So that's a little bit about the device reporting. And I've got one final reporting use case to share with you today, which is asset management reporting.
Ashley, quick question that came through that I'm curious. So these charts that you've pre-built that have in there, can you go in and continue to edit them, either resave them, or like once they're built, they're completely done? Someone's kind of asking a question on that. Yeah.
That's a really great question. And I was actually going to show it in this report. So that's perfect. Well, yeah, that's great. So actually what I've done here, I was able to come in and modify the widget here, and you just click on the refine option. So as you're coming out and building these reports, and you're maybe getting more specific with the type of data that you're trying to pull, just to make sure that you're cleaning up the data, or maybe just priorities change and it's like, well, this is pretty close to the report that I want, but I want something else. This gives you that ability to come in and update that with not needing to duplicate the work. So it does make it more scalable. So you can see as I pull up the refine option, it's the Go Pilot says, what changes would you like to make to this widget? So this is really live data. It's a live report that you've built. It's going to interact with any changes that you need to update. So maybe I could say, please display this report as a pie chart, and then we can expect that data to update that way. So it could be a change to how it's displayed or the type of data in particular that I'm wanting it to extract or how I want it to be sorted by. So just like you saw when I was building out the widget, it is going to continue allowing me to iterate over the data, and then we can just save the changes and it will reflect that there in the report. So it was a line chart there, and it's updated there. Yeah, so it's really great to have that immediate feedback, and just that we know that the work that we're doing is going to be saved and we're not needing to duplicate efforts once we go through that. Awesome. So asset reporting. Every device and every asset represents both an investment and a potential risk. These AI-driven asset reports are going to help IT managers track their hardware lifecycle, reclaim unused equipment, and plan for upgrades. So let's go ahead and jump into maybe a new widget that we want to build out. And I always like to think about licenses and how those are utilized. That's a really common theme here with our asset management. So I want to see just a breakdown of all the software licenses that are out there floating around in our entire organization. So it's going to give me that data, and then maybe there are some tweaks that we can make to it. So let's see what it gives us.
I love we're doing this live. This is great.
Oh yeah,
it's so
I always
good.
love to test the demo gods. This is Well, I say that I do.
Oh no.
I know. I tested it earlier and it worked great. Um, let's give it another chance here.
Should have kept my mouth shut.
I know. That's okay. Um, okay, fine. We'll just jump back into the other widgets that I've built out. Um, yeah, jumping back in here though, so device count by CPU. Clearly this is going to give us, with capacity planning, help us understand our hardware standardization, showing you what processing power you have deployed across the fleet. Device distribution by location. This is going to be a must for distributed teams to help you understand your geographic coverage, plan off-site support, manage stock levels across your different locations. The number of unassigned devices by device type. So this was another one where I was able to kind of refine it and sort it multiple times. This is going to let you know, essentially help you track down your orphan assets, help you recover unused equipment and reduce waste, reallocate resources without those new purchases. And actually, I did already add that widget earlier, the one that I was going to create live. So unused software licenses, I was able to just query it for show me all software licenses. And then, okay, who cares about all of it though? Show me the unused licenses so I know if we need to reallocate those to other users or reduce spend when it comes to whenever we're maintaining those contracts and renewing those. So with all of that said, those are all of the use cases that I had built out for us today. But just to kind of wrap everything up, considering the dynamic insights that we're able to build through these AI custom reports, really what Dynamic Insights has to offer is this ability to elevate and sharpen our vision, right? Help me see more clearly operations and data in my organization so that we can better plan for tomorrow. Help me surface the right data in plain language so that we can cut through all the noise and make sure that we're, dialing in on the most critical high impact segments of the organization and rising that information to the top for us. Make it easy for yourself and your team to make better decisions. That's what I've got for us today. Yeah.
Awesome. That was great. Love it. So before we kind of open it up to questions, let me share back my screen here. We do have another poll that I'd love to push out there. So get your questions in because we're having time with those. All right. So a lot of benefits involved again with what Ashley was showing, right? So everything from time savings to consolidating, seeing everything across, and then think about the problems you had, and think about, right, what was shown there, just the ability to kind of on demand ask any questions and save them. Would love to know what you thought was compelling, useful, most interesting to you within these, right? So reduce manual workload, time savings, consolidated view, ability to answer one-off questions, real-time visibility into your IT operations, or just the ability to kind of ask it in any plain language, right? And kind of get the insight that you have. So we'll give you a couple more seconds to kind of fill these in. But that was great. I actually love it. And for those that were curious again, sometimes there's some bugs. It is still in kind of an open beta. And so if you do use it, we'd love to get your feedback. So there's a feedback button in the console. Please share what you have. I think after you use it too, sometimes there'll be a pop-up to fill out a survey or anything like that. Again, that helps our product and engineering team really refine what you'd like to see and use in there. All right, I think we've got critical mass here. Let's push back what we're seeing. Manual workload and real-time visibility. Love it. And you know what? That's kind of exactly what I'd love to see. The manual one, I just think, teams are just so overburdened at this point. It's like, hey, don't have to pull everything together, can really ask and customize those views as needed, right? All right, cool. So let's see on the questions that we have. So let me jump into those. Oh, we also have, as I'm pulling this up, I forgot about this one. We're not gonna push this out, but as you're putting in your questions, if you'd like Ashley or someone else to give you a personalized demo, not just of this, but of all the AI functionality or anything specific in Resolve, you have some questions that maybe you don't want to ask in here, please let us know. We'll push up here. Simple yes, no, no hard sell or anything. It really is just to get more of a tailored demo of any of this functionality or other functionality. All right. So while people are answering that, got a question that came through. So yeah, this is actually a good question. I think this is more of a secret sauce stuff. So the question wants to know, it's not really sure how the app knows where to look for the requested data. So I'm gonna take that as a question of where's the app looking for all this requested data? I don't know, Ashley, if you have a good answer to that, or it's more of a, yeah, around where it's looking for it.
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, it's going to be pulling the data from your account utilization and whatever data is in your account. Obviously, just like with any GPT model, the more specific you are with the questions that you're asking, it's going to return back better data. So if you're wanting to collate maybe like alerts along with like device usage, just being very specific about what type of information you're trying to gather, and just using those very specific keywords is going to help with directing that. I don't know if that helps answer.
Yeah, and it just, I mean, that's a lot of the secret sauce too, David. It really is, that all this information is kind of lying under the hood, right? You have all your devices listed in there. If you go into your devices section, right, it's got operating system, it's pulling all this information, right? You have all your tickets. And so really what the AI is doing, it's just collecting it from all those places to push out exactly what to answer your question and help you get more of that consolidated view, right? So it is everything. It's not pulling from outside systems. This again is localized to Resolve and anything that occurred within Resolve. So another question that someone said, and I don't think we kind of went through it. They saw some of those suggestions on the bottoms for there. Can those just be used, or are those like what were those little suggestions that were on those main screens that came up?
Yeah, that's a really great question. Yeah, we didn't use any of them, but those were essentially instead of me typing in whatever ID I had, then it was just going to build out that widget for me. Some of the examples were like show me daily ticket count, show me device count by CPU. So I guess we did actually use that, or the number of devices that were added in the past year. So you really just click on that highlighted bubble, and then it will build out that widget for you. So just
There you
giving you
go.
some actionable suggestions on some insights you can gather.
Yeah, we know that sometimes starting from a blank slate is kind of hard. So that's really just, hey, you want to play around or test it, you don't have to break your brain with what's coming up. And I think once you start seeing what it can do, then you start to tailor and localize it.
And
Another
then
question, exactly. Chris, I mentioned the audit reports and stuff earlier, didn't really touch on those. I'm guessing the question is what are contained in the audit or activity reports? I don't know if you know that off the top of your head. Ashley, that's in the admin center, those activity setup or
activity reports. I wonder which reports they were
so I
curious
think
about.
it's probably the ones in the admin center. So basically, I think what it is like if you set up so anything that's like changing your environment, right? So whether you're setting up
Oh, account
alerts or
changes. Yeah.
yeah. So I think it's everything from if a device was added, who added it? If you set up a monitoring alert, when was it set up? What was it and who added it? So it really is when we talked about the compliance, the trail of stuff. Someone did something that was different, something was added, and you really want to know who did it. That's where you can kind of get to the root cause. So I'd say nearly all changes that occur within your ecosystem are pretty much logged there, from adding users to adding devices to sessions being run to inventory being created or anything. I'm fairly certain is tracked in there, so it's pretty
And just to
robust.
clarify, that would be in the admin center. That wouldn't be in the
Yeah.
reporting module, just for those who are curious about that.
Yes, definitely. Right. So that's outside of it. So the AI isn't going to pull from that. It's pulling more on the data there. And the last question is how someone can access this reporting. So I think just going right into the reporting section, it's turned on in open beta for all accounts.
That's right. Yeah. And you can go under all reports. There's a default report section, and then just right underneath the reporting title, there's custom reports. And that's where you're going to want to go. The first step is to actually create the report, give it a name and a description. And then second would be to build out the widgets for that entire custom report. But it should be there live, available for you to test now.
Awesome. Well, I think that brings us to our end of our time here. Ashley, this was great. Danny, anything to wrap up with, or we're good to go? Oh,
I
oh wait, there was one last question just came in. We can get it under the wire, Steve. Are there additional default reports available? So non-AI ones.
Non-AI reports. Yeah, so the ones that we showed earlier, the out-of-the-box reports would be there's an executive summary report, there's help desk reports, inventory reports, RMM reports, and session reports. So there are 5 other templates that are already built out for you. So you don't have to build out all reporting for yourself. We do have that, cake layer, the standard report
Right.
section, and then the icing is the custom dynamic insights reports.
Exactly. Yep. So
well, not
hopefully,
ready.
I'm ready for cake too.
Yeah, the ones that are in there, and again, if there are, one of the things that we're looking at as well, because did a follow up of any more pre-canned than that. So really, if there are specific reports that are needed, that are pulled regularly, feel free again, drop them into the feedback, and we're always looking to add more. We are expanding those out of the box reports, so there are, I think it's getting released in a week, a little more detailed out of the box. I can share more insights, Steve, on those. I don't want to speak out of turn, so I can get those details from our product team. But again, there's the resource center within the product in the top right corner. It looks like a little book. You can watch there for any things that release. Sometimes we'll pop-ups in the product. We have monthly newsletters that go out to let you know. But there are a few more pre-canned reports. But I do encourage you to try around, play around with that AI, and really build what you think is best for you and to get at, to make sure it's kind of fine-tuned to yourself, and then let us know how it worked. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I thought the session was great and very insightful. I'm sure our audience did as well. But we would love for you guys to let us know. The survey is going to be launched in just a second once we officially end the session. And we would love to hear what you guys think, if you could hold on just for another 60 seconds. But on that note, thank you, Chris. Thank you, Ashley, for an amazing session. And we'll see you guys next time.
Yes, thank
Thanks,
you so
everyone.
much. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Everyone.